Another day, another season of Invincible. And I think I liked it. I know I'm late. My bad. I've never actually gone ahead and reviewed the first 3 seasons of Invincible. So, as a quick summary, I really liked season 1. The way they handled Omni-Man was great. And at this point, the novelty of all these characters being like their family-friendly counterparts hadn't worn off. The animation was always poop, and I will always stand by that. But also, relative to each other, it's clear that this season had the most dedication to looking consistent. Great season of television. 9 out of 10. Season 2's first half was weaker than the second half, marginally. Amber's change to knowing Mark was invincible earlier than before was not really well thought out in the first season, and that made her seem like an unreasonable prick. So here, the focus was making her not really a character, and she's like, overtly reasonable. Their breakup also took a tad bit too long, but at least the entire second half with the Viltrumites and Oliver were really what got me back. I even think the side characters were popping off, like Donald, Debbie, etc. So it was also good. 8 out of 10. And then season 3 was my least favorite. I didn't think it was bad. I liked Cecil, Mark, and Oliver, but the side characters were not really doing a whole lot. Rex was cool, I guess, but like, it was clear everything in that season they gave him was emotional manipulation to get me to care when he dies. Like all those date scenes he had, and those scenes where he's like, dude, I'm gonna finally change my life around. It's gonna be so good. I was like, yeah, okay. And also, this was the first time I ever really had the animation worsen the experience for me. And so, besides the finale kicking a lot of butt, I didn't think it was too crazy. So I would give it a 7 out of 10. And now, it is 2026, and Season 4 of Invincible has just been released. And as is expected, yep, this is more Invincible. But the fact I feel this way is honestly starting to piss me off a little bit. I'm gonna just get my animation junk out of the way. There is no way we can be accepting of this, right? It has been 4 seasons, and I am not going to be letting up on this critique any less. It is unacceptable that this is the quality we are given, and it definitely feels like an Amazon budget decision. There's a rumor that the post-processing team for the show was like only 4 people, and I have no idea if it's true. It might just be, you know, a whole bunch of horse bananas, but the fact that the animation has me willing to believe it is very telling. We would be giving up yearly releases for the animation to improve, most likely. A hot take? I think the few extra years waiting causing the show to age better for the rest of time is a worthy trade-off. At first, I was afraid the show would never finish after season 2 took 3 years because the comic is like 8 seasons worth of content, and I felt with such an integral cast like this, if the show took 15 to 20 years to finish, that something unfortunate would happen, or the show might get canned or something. I don't like being all doom and gloom on here, but J.K. Simmons is 71 years old. I hope he lives for another 71, but obviously, there's a fear I have with what could happen if we take too long. So on the one hand, that is why I am okay with yearly releases. And I feel like now that we have covered 4 seasons in 5 years, you know, maybe it's okay to start slowing down. I think the main thing this show needs is just to look like its current best all the time. I'm not asking it to always be like the Conquest fight, just, you know, no flying PNGs, maybe? I don't need this to look like Jujutsu Kaisen. There was a charm during season 1 of the show having to look like the average generic superhero animated series when it wasn't excessively gory. So just having some more time to refine the imperfections would do actual wonders. So that was the mandatory Invincible talk on the animation. Now we can actually talk about the story. All things considered, we're not at a point where the story is getting really interesting. I've always loved the philosophical parts of the show more than the other aspects. Is Cecil right? Is Mark right? Is Thetis right? Or is Oliver right? At the heart of this season this time was Nolan, and I really liked his character. He had so many tops and turns that by this point, it's crazy to look back on season 1 and think they're the same character. His strained relationships to everyone are also fascinating character works. Debbie obviously hates him the most, but I like that Mark is more in the middle, having to weigh the first 18 years of his life to how crazy his last few have been. And Oliver, in some respects, I just wanted to learn who his dad was so he can have an opinion of his own. I also want to say that Alan is my favorite character in the comics, and we're just about getting to the point where we can see why. This might be the only role in existence Seth Rogen has had where I can actually say he was the right guy for the job. However, I think this season has one new problem that it's never really had before, and that would be the sequencing of the episodes themselves. I think the first 5 episodes of the season would be much more enjoyable if they were to be moved around. As it stands right now, the show starts with Mark dealing with his problems on Earth, And then you get the absolute best episode of the season with what Alan and Nolan have been up to and having it end with the stinger that they need to see Mark. And then we are forced to sit through 2 more episodes before their arrival. One of which is the demon episode. This episode sucked, bruh. How are we getting filler episodes on a seasonal show with only 8 episodes each season? Genuinely, this episode brings the whole season down a number score. There is no acknowledgement of anything else in the show. There aren't any worthwhile ramifications for the episode existing that couldn't have been tacked on to the previous episode, and the show cannot even be bothered to try to care. I honestly don't think people would have been as mad if episodes 2 and 3 were flipped around. Since the first 3 episodes dropped, it would have been a better cliffhanger, and only waiting 1 episode before the reunion would have also done better for people's expectations. But credit where credit is due, the Viltrumite War was gas. They had my ass locked in during Mark's rematch, and Oliver's character work with Nolan on their dedicated episode was truly great to watch. And I gotta say, I am really looking forward to season 5. That is gonna be great. But that's about it. I don't really have much to say. It's more Invincible, am I right? So I am very conflicted on the season. If it was just the first 4 episodes, it would be a 6 out of 10. And if it was the last 4 episodes, I would have given it a 9 out of 10. So I think we need to even this out a little bit. I would give Invincible season 4 a 7 out of 10.